Hey y'all, welcome back to the ranch. I'm Jared Paul, and today we are going to get to pruning my river birch, little forest planting that I did with three Thuja occidentalis, all grown from seed. The Thuja are acting as little bushes in a forest planting, and I have some moss that may or may not come back, but I'm going to establish a walkway that I had carved in last year with some nice little river pebbles. So that's what's coming up on today's episode of Jarhead Bonsai. All right, y'all. So here we have my planting of, let's see, 5 river birches and 3 Thuja occidentalis. They've been chilling out in the basement since like November, in an effort to have them go dormant and gain some energy for this coming spring. So I just went down and, each day it's fun, get to go down and pick a different species to go ahead and prune up and get ready for this spring. So anyways, you can see there was some nice thick hardy moss going on last year and the season, and it's really kind of dried out this winter. So I hope it's one of those things that grows back, but I'm not sure. So I'm just going to mist it real quick directly to the moss. I've watered this thing, maybe once every 10 days to 2 weeks, keeping the planting moist without soaking it, because obviously when it's dormant it doesn't use as much of the water. So anyways, we got some really good growth last year, some nice ramification, and they're really looking like river birches look. River birches can have like a million trunks coming up from the base, usually fanning out and always going vertically. So they look good to me. If you can see here, this is supposed to be the entrance to the pathway, so that's the front of the planting. And then you just picture you're walking up into a river birch grove, which is usually how they grow, multiple in the same area, and making your way around and walking out the back of the planting. I used a piece of sandstone and 2 pieces of quartz, all found locally, because actually 10% or more of Connecticut's crust earth is made up of quartz. So we have a quartz mine that's close to us. We always go check it out when we're frequenting this one trail. And so I figured it would be fitting to have a bunch of quartz within this planting because, river birch are very popular here as well. So I'm just going to knock the rest of the leaves off that kind of yellowed up, the ones that didn't fall. I bet they would naturally fall, with wind and all that in nature, but since they were indoors and downstairs, they just kind of hung out. Right. So these Thuja, they're not looking too good, I gotta be honest with you. My other Thujas I kept outside for the winter to overwinter, but since this was a part of a shallow deciduous planting, I decided it would be better suited to go in the basement. So I'm hoping that they didn't, dry up, die off. I guess they don't look too terrible, but they're not looking like the green bushes that I had left them as to end the season. So you can see that 1, 2, and 3. We got the sandstone to enter the pathway, and then a couple of pieces of quartz here. One's rose quartz and one's just a natural white quartz. A little piece of obsidian. All right, so now that it's prepped, we'll take a look at the canopies, see if there's anything, kind of crisscrossing or growing in the wrong direction. We'll prune that off, and then we'll set up the pathway. But birches are one of my favorite trees. As you can see here, these have like a brownish, reddish hue with like white polka dots. And I believe the older they get, the white actually, well, obviously it's a birch, so the white polka dots turn into just a straight white bark, which I think is cool. I love how it stands out in the winter too. or in the spring when they start to get like those bright green leaves like weeping out and the white trunk. It's really a beautiful tree. All right, so let's start with this one. It's like I was talking about, most of the branches that come out are vertical growth. So even though they're not really crisscrossing across each other's trees, like, you know, these branches can interfere with each other when they start to leaf out. So since this one isn't the apex, I'm going to go ahead and remove that. I'm going to let the lower branches on these trees develop. You know, if I find that I have a taller branch, rather than just snipping the tip, I'm going to remove it entirely and allow these lower branches to thicken up and kind of grow up along with it. So this one here, see this? It's my lowest branch on this side, but it's growing back towards the apex and that main trunk. And then I have another branch here that it's interfering with. So rather than removing it entirely, I'm just going to take it down to like the second or third internode there. Here, this one, oh, it was just kind of stuck. It's crisscrossing. Little one here, get that out. There's one growing from inside the crotch here. Yeah, cool. All right, that tree's done. This tree is looking nice and strong. So I have right here, you can see it, I've got this one branch and it divides into three. And it looks like this middle branch is the only part that's not interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that part entirely and leave the other two to grow. I'm leaving the slightest bit for dieback just in case. I haven't really pruned these a bunch, so I don't know the species as far as how it responds to a pruning. All right, this one's growing outward, interfering with the one that's lower, growing more vertically, which I want, so I'll take that out. I really hope this moss comes back. It was nice and thick. I took it from this huge rock that's at the entrance to the state park. It's just this really large rock, boulder, whatever you want to call it, and it has the thickest, greenest, most beautiful moss all over it. So I collected a bunch from it last year. Go. All right, this one's going back across itself. You see these? They're kind of coming straight out and then crisscrossing. I don't think I would want branches developing down that low that aren't coming up. And it's like each tree species is different. And, you know, it's totally up to you and your personal preference. So what I like to do is I like to grow trees the way that I would see them when I'm on my hikes and things like that. So I don't wire. When I do clip and grow, I typically try to keep it as natural looking as possible, just in a miniature form. So, you know, to each their own. There's no wrong way of doing bonsai, except when you kill your trees. But if you don't kill some, you don't learn. And I have killed plenty. There's one here growing right from the base of a branch. I'll take that out. You don't want your branches competing for energy, you know? You want to pick one and go with it. It's just an old tip, probably from his first pruning ever. So I grew this bad boy, all of these, from seed. We're looking at like 2 years and a couple of months. So they're actually really starting to develop nicely. Up here we got this one growing off to the side, interfering with one coming straight up. kind of like the height of everything, so I don't necessarily want to like prune it all out right now. That might be like a late summer thing where I see what, you know, has the most muscular growth and then bring it back. But for now, I'm just trying to take out the cross branching. And anything that would interfere with a more favored branch. It's nice. So I got a little bit of dieback from a previous pruning, obvi. Alright, so right here, we've got this branch coming out and up, and then this branch coming out and up, and they're dividing nicely, but there's this one branch on the interior of that bottom one that's kind of growing up and across the next one above it. So since it's so vertical, it's not interesting. I'm just going to take that out. We don't want anything competing for space or energy. This one's growing against its own main trunk. This one's growing back towards the main trunk. Right here we have a bunch kind of all intersecting, so just like before, I'll take out the middle one. It's not necessarily wrong the way it's growing, but I could just see like leaves growing into leaves in the future, and there's no point in that. Interior branch. Cool. So I'm just going to leave the thuja today because I don't know what's going to come back, what's not going to come back, or if they're going to come back at all. So in spring, when I do another video on this little river birch planting, I'll have to let you know whether we had success or failure with letting them overwinter downstairs rather than outside. Trees from seed are difficult in the first few years for sure. I mean, even getting them to grow and getting them to get like their secondary leaves and then taking them through like all the different seasons. Each species is different. I've had success and failure with pretty much all of them. I believe I grew a little over 50, maybe 56 different species from seed when I first started out here. So I'm coming up on my 2-year anniversary on YouTube, 3-year anniversary in Bonsai. That'll be on Monday. That'll be my 3-year anniversary. This one's growing interiorly towards another branch. Get that out. So it's like, it's all a really interesting, fun, frustrating learning process. And if you're just starting out, I would say check out as many bonsai channels as possible. Pick up all the info you can. Really learn your climate and what you like and your preference. And then start experimenting. But don't expect to have 100% success. If you do and you get frustrated, it will take away from the awesome experience that is bonsai. All right, here I've got another one of 3. I'll take out the one in the middle. Just nip the tips on some of the taller ones here. This one's growing back across the other. Wow, my eyes are terrible. Some deadwood. This one's growing back across the middle. All right, cool. Let's see if we can add some gravel to this thing and take it to the next level. I really would like to develop this as a nice little trail looking planting, you know. I just left the space open last year and left the moss off the spots where I wanted to develop the trail. And now I'm repurposing some river pebble. I like the different color pop here. Taking out some of the dead leaves. I really wish that the moss was bright green right now. It was just so plush, and it really added to the whole planting, you know. Actually, this stone isn't working there. Move it over here, kind of join it up with the other piece of quartz. Some dead leaves out of here. Oh yeah, that's starting to look dope. Cool. Oh yeah, I'm digging it. All right, so short video today. Not much pruning to be had, but I'm happy to get this river birch planting out of dormancy. Can't wait to see it leaf out. We have some of the coolest leaves. I'm excited to get these to the point where the trunks start to turn white, hopefully this year. And it's got one more step of progress on developing this forest planting. So I'll take you for a little walk through this trail, and that'll be it. So thanks for joining me here today at the ranch, y'all. That's going to do it for Jarhead Bonsai. If you haven't subscribed and liked, please do so. I really enjoy making videos for everybody, sharing in the camaraderie, answering questions, getting comments and help from other bonsai growers. And it's an amazing art form. So if you're just starting out, stay the course, don't get frustrated. Killing trees is all part of the process, but hopefully for the majority they live. So I'm Jared Paul. Take care, y'all. Cheers.